Our next Hall of Fame inductee will be rightfully joining Coach Whetstone. As many of you know, we gather to pay homage to a legend whose name embodies excellence and dedication in collegiate gymnastics. Dr. Hartley Price, a pioneer whose influence transcends borders and generations, left an indelible mark on our sport. Born in Brisbane, Australia in 1902, Price's journey led him to America at the age of 21, where he pursued his passion for education. Graduating from Springfield College in 1927 with a Bachelor of Science degree in physical education, he embarked on a remarkable academic and coaching career, earning 5 degrees, including a doctorate. In 1930, Dr. Price became head gymnastics coach of the University of Illinois, spending 18 illustrious years sculpting champions and guiding the Fighting Illini to 4 NCAA team championships. Following a brief hiatus during World War II, where he served with distinction in the United States Navy, rising to the rank of Lieutenant Commander, Dr. Price resumed his coaching career at Florida State University. Arriving in Tallahassee in 1948, Dr. Price faced obstacles head-on, but wasted no time building a formidable gymnastics program. Despite humble beginnings, he transformed the men's gymnastics team into a hub of athletic excellence, laying the groundwork for future successes. Several seasoned gymnasts, including the late Bill Rotzheim, followed Price to FSU. In 1951, FSU won the national championship, marking the first by a Florida team in any sport. Rotzheim excelled, winning individual championships and representing the U.S. at the inaugural Pan American Games in Buenos Aires, and in 1952 at the Games in Helsinki. FSU continued its success, winning 2 more national AAU championships in '53 and '55, and defeating national teams from Sweden and Cuba in 1954 and '56 respectively. Despite budgetary constraints and shifting priorities of the college athletic department, Dr. Price's passion for gymnastics remained unwavering. Even after intercollegiate support for the sport had withdrawn in 1960, he continued to lead the team as a club sport, expanding opportunities to women's participation along the way. Beyond his coaching prowess, Dr. Price's impact extended well beyond competition. A prolific writer and influential figure in intramural and recreational sports, his contributions to academia and the sporting community are unparalleled. He contributed to Collier's Encyclopedia, the Encyclopedia Britannica, the Dictionary of Sports, and the Encyclopedia of Sports Medicine. Presenting the induction of Dr. Price into the CGA Hall of Fame is Mr. Tom Gibbs, a former assistant coach to Temple University's men's gymnastics team and distinguished inductee of the Frank Komitsky Judge Hall of Fame. Mr. Gibbs has made substantial contributions to the sport. His tenure with the National Gymnastics Judges has seen him officiate numerous championships and trials, including EIGL, NCAA, USA Championships, and the World and Olympic Team Trials. Let us warmly welcome Mr. Tom Gibbs.
Thank you, Mike. Greetings, everyone. This is a great honor for me to even be here today. I knew of Hartley Price, and unfortunately I never had the good fortune to have met him, but I knew much about his career. It's an astonishing career. He born in 1919 in Queensland, Australia, and he had a storied career, much of which Mike reiterated already today, and it's an incredible one. He was a pioneer and an innovator and very much a leader. And he began his career after graduating from Springfield, as Mike mentioned, and started his career as a coach at the University of Illinois. And not an easy start. He was in the height of the Great Depression, and around 1934 they faced some very serious financial issues, and it was a question of whether the program would even survive. And so he innovated. He created Gymnastica, a circus troupe, and they started their first performances in Kenny Gym. The first year they ran it into about 500 spectators. By the 3rd year they were in Huff Gym, and they had already brought in over 3,000 spectators. It was wildly successful, hugely popular, and was modeled by many other schools in Duke University, University of Maryland, and Cortland State. Springfield, of course, where he started out, has had a long history and tradition of their home show well over 100 years. So he was a pioneer, and maybe it's a story of survival even apropos today. And somehow I think that he probably had that Aussie sense of humor that somehow he infused at the University of Illinois. And it reminded me that a few years back I was in Michigan prepping to introduce the honored coach recipient. I think it was Kurt Goldberg that year. And I was sitting up close to the podium, and unbeknownst to me, there was a gymnast at Illinois. His name happened to be Tom Gibbs. And so as the MC introduced me, the Illinois guys are back at their table nudging Tom to get up to the podium. They called your name. And here he came, sort of quickly walking up, and as I stood there looking into his eyes like a deer in the headlights, I realized I better tell him that I'm Tom Gibbs and I'm presenting the Honor Coach Award. At which point he turned around and walked back to his table with the chuckles of his teammates. And somehow I think that sense of humor was infused in Illinois. He was a terrific coach. A much enlivened program. By 1939, they were national AAU champions. They won their first Big Ten championship. And from 1939 to 42, they won 4 consecutive NCAA championships. He produced 16 individual NCAA champions, 33 Big Ten champions, 56 All-Americans in his tenure at Illinois. And for whatever reason, and of course, World War II interrupted everything, so he was Lieutenant Commander Price, stationed in Iowa City, training pilots, using his gymnastic background to train pilots for the Navy. He left Illinois after the war. There's some discrepancy as to whether he was concerned that he wasn't being paid enough or was unhappy with some things in Illinois. And he left and started a program from scratch at Florida State. And by 1951, they won their first 2 consecutive NCAA championships. Interestingly, the 51 team beat Illinois by 3 points. So we all know the expression about paybacks. But I think perhaps his most enduring accomplishment was in the early 1950s. He chaired a committee to form the establishment of the Honor Coach Award, of which he was the second recipient in 1955. The first recipient, a legendary coach, Max Younger at Temple, who had produced 2 Olympic gymnasts and national championship team in 1949. And this year marks the 70th year of that prestigious award. And we honored 3 individuals the other night at the banquet. I'm happy to say that they're here today. Kevin Mozaika, longtime coach, national coach, Olympic coach, and his colleague, Donnie Osborne, longtime record at Illinois, an assistant coach currently, and previously an assistant coach at a different time, sandwiched in between as a head coach. Two great guys. And I think that's been part of Dr. Price's legacy. As Mike indicated, he was an avid publisher, extolling the virtues and the benefits of children participating in gymnastics at an early age. And I'd like to mention one other thing. Periodically, we have given an honor coach certificate posthumously to an individual who was either never nominated or unfortunately didn't live long enough to receive the Honor Coach Award. And I had the distinct pleasure the other night of honoring John Ribeiro, an outstanding gymnast at East Stroudsburg. He was a Brazilian gymnast, the first to represent his country as an Olympic gymnast in the Olympics in 1980 in Moscow. And we lost John last year to cancer. He's an esteemed member, both as an individual, he's been enshrined in the Hall of Fame at East Stroudsburg, and also as a team, one of their USAG collegiate championship teams. So I think that's been a part of Dr. Price's legacy. He knew the value and the importance of coaches and their contributions to the sport. Thank you, Dr. Price, and I yield back my extra minutes for our next presenter.